we don't get what we want, we get who we are. If every time you think that whether it's getting your health in order and dropping weight or, taking your energy to another level, whatever it is, if you constantly think of that as a point A to a point B, yes, it's fine to have that goal and that state in mind. But every time you get there, if automatically you go, oh, I'm gonna sack things off and just let it ride, and then think you have to recommit, I'm telling you, that is an endless, frustrating, vicious cycle that will just keep you going 2 steps forward and basically 4 steps back. I am up and I am standing up, finishing up a little bit of morning routine here. And listen, to be quite blunt, I didn't feel like doing this morning. It took every ounce of me to get in here, do something 20 minutes, quick and dirty, in and out, right? And I don't know if you've experienced this before. However, I know after speaking with a lot of guys, I know that there's those moments when you wake up and you just feel like you would just rather, whether it's poke your eyes out with red hot cigars or just, stay in bed for the entire day, whatever it is, the last thing you want to do is get up and maybe lean into taking care of yourself, right? Whether it's getting in a workout, whether it's even staying on point throughout the day within the nutrition, whatever it is. I know that some days you don't feel on fire, right? And guess what? That's okay. It's okay to not always be on fire. It's okay to not be okay, right? I have those days. I'm human. But what I've learned is that if every time we only act whenever we're feeling like it, well, then that leads to this constant roller coaster of almost having to recommit or reset every time we hit a setback, every time we get a wane in motivation, every time we just don't feel like it. And then it becomes like, man, why can't I ever stick to anything? I always, have to recommit. This actually reminds me of a great conversation. I had a client this past week who was sharing, he lost over 30 pounds, couple belt loops down, clothes fitting a lot better than they were, starting to actually have the endurance and stamina to go and do more activities that he used to love to do, right? Actually being able, he said, one thing I noticed is that now being able to help around the house a lot more, right? And just not just automatically just go straight for the couch, right? And kind of veg out. And he said, what's crazy is because at the point of where he is in his journey, he's about right around at the 10-week mark. And he said to me, I woke up and he's like, I'm loving the results and everything. And he's like, I thought to myself, what about the days when I'm not just feeling it? He's like, call it whether it's lacking motivation or wanting to give in to the old me and my old ways. And then he said, when he viewed one of the trainings within the program, he's like, right after I asked myself that, I was like, oh, is exactly what you said. You basically said, act first, right? Act first despite how you feel. And he said, this was big because what he realized was that it's okay that not every day is he's going to be up for sticking to things. And he said, I just need to be consistent. And he compared it to, he's like, when I got married, right, and I became a father, I committed to those roles, right? It wasn't something that I had to constantly recommit to, right? I committed to the marriage. I became married. That was now my role of who I was as a husband. We had kids. Now it was my role as a father. It was who I am. So it's not that I had to constantly recommit myself and psych myself up on the days like, oh, here we go into the relationship, or, I got to be a father. No, it was like, this is who I am now. And this is profound because consider, we don't get what we want. We get who we are. If every time you think that whether it's getting your health in order and dropping weight or, taking your energy to another level, whatever it is, if you constantly think of that as a point A to a point B, yes, it's fine to have that goal and that state in mind. But every time you get there, if automatically you go, oh, I'm going to sack things off and just let it ride, and then think you have to recommit, I'm telling you, that is an endless, frustrating, vicious cycle that will just keep you going 2 steps forward and basically 4 steps back every single time. So if you want it to stay consistent, instead of thinking, oh, I gotta recommit and psych myself up, instead, no, just understand you're not always gonna feel like it. Just remain consistent, stay focused, and just stay committed to who you are. And therefore, you'll never have to slide back or recommit every time you get derailed or something like that. Anyway, something for you to think on.